Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're doing episode number 2 of I Build Your Teams, the series where I build my viewers' teams into the best teams possible for my team unlimited and or competitive play, although there's really not much comp stuff going on as of yet, hoping that 2K will drop a 250K tournament or something like that later on this year. But they might not. Competitive My Team just might not really be much of a thing this year, to be completely honest, unfortunately. But I know we still want to be good at the game. We still want to win unlimited. We still want to build good squads, all that stuff. So this first team today comes in from Chris. He says he's no money spent, just bought ADs. He has about 3,000 MT, and he's on PlayStation. So looking at this squad, Chris Paul probably free, Dylan Brooks, Cam Whitmore, Jabari Smith, and Ron Artest. I can assume all those cards are free cards. We know Desmond Bane is a free card. Ron Artest was probably the card that he picked, I assume, from the locker code. This team is pretty good, and I like that you have Jordan Walsh back here as well. I actually think Jordan Walsh is the best small forward on your team. I would start him at the 3. Just my personal opinion. I like him the most out of all the small forwards on your team, and I would have Ron Artest off the bench at the 4 temporarily. I understand he's a little bit undersized, but I still think that is where he fits the best. I don't think Sapphire Giannis has a spot on people's teams, to be completely honest. Now, if you have Ruby Giannis from the Pro Pass, which you may or may not have picked, but I guess if you're truly no money spent, you probably don't have the Pro Pass. I would definitely say Ruby Giannis could play if you had him, but since I'm assuming you probably don't have that Giannis and you probably do actually have the Sapphire, I wouldn't use the Sapphire. You can't shoot. I would look towards the card that's coming out today, actually, which is that Sapphire Marcus Camby, because he can hit a wide open 3 and he's a really good interior defensive center with not horrible speed. I think he'd be a really good backup center for your team. I'm not going to recommend selling AD. As expensive as he is compared to the rest of your team, he is one of the best few cards in the game, your best option to counter Shaq, and the best center in the game for people who cannot afford Shaq by a significant margin. So I do not have any problems whatsoever with AD staying at your center position. I do think you need to play a couple games of a mode like salary cap, maybe. Honestly, if a more affordable, easier center to get, I mean, it's Ruby Joakim Noah is free. You could go target that card. I think that might help. You need another point guard as well, probably a more offensively centered point guard. World B free is not bad, but I think instead of at least Dellavedova, if you're going to run 3 PGs, you got to get Brandon Jennings. You need an offensive scoring point guard as well, but that's going to take a couple games of salary cap. Then you could have Joakim Noah, you can have Marcus Camby, and you'll have some upgrades to your center position as well. Give you some more point guard and center depth, and then I would start Jordan Walsh and bring on our test temporarily back up 4 as well. So overall, not a bad squad. No money spent, starting to cook. Got AD. That's a W. Next team today comes in from Trent. He says he can't put the ball in the hoop with his bench. All right, and then this dude Parker is telling him that it's a user issue. I don't know about that because Trent's pretty good, but he's got Kyrie, Vince, Jordan Walsh, Jabari Smith, Anthony Davis. That starting lineup is solid as it is. Now, Chris Paul, Dylan Brooks, Cam Whitmore, Paulo Banchero, Giannis. I'm going to be completely honest with you. You can't put the ball in the hoop with your bench. I'm going to fix that. Devin Booker is the answer, and then buy Jason Kidd. That's the easiest answer for somebody who's trying to have a competitive type of squad. The best competitive backcourt off the bench right now for most people is going to be something that either involves like a Dame and a Dr. J, something along those lines, or something that involves more of a Devin Booker, Jason Kidd, where you have that lockdown PG, and then Devin Booker is one of the best scorers in the game. I would go get either one of those backcourts. The rest of your team is fine. You don't have Sean Kemp, that's fine. You could get him, say you have Mitch Richmond unsellable. If you were to pull Mitch Richmond unsellable, and then all of a sudden Kemp's lock-in is 40,000 MT, then it's totally worth it. If you don't have Richmond, I'm not sure it's worth spending the MT or the VC right now to lock in for Kemp. I would spend the 100K VC on Devin Booker and then the 70K MT on Jason Kidd. I think that's just worth it. Or you could even run CP. He's still a good defensive PG. You could run CP and Devin Booker and you'll probably still be fine, to be honest. Don't even really have to buy Devin Booker. I don't even have to buy Jason Kidd. Dylan Brooks is a good card. He just doesn't score the ball. You don't have anybody off your bench who's going to score the ball at a high level. You need an elite scorer. Devin Booker is the answer. And you have the VC sitting in your account right now to make it happen. I know he's expensive, but you won't regret it because you'll be able to score the ball with your bench. Next team today comes in from Josh, 50,000 MT. He's got himself a very, very good team. This is also my thumbnail designer. If y'all ever need 2K thumbnails, logos, anything like that, regardless, 2K or not, even IRL NBA stuff, this is my thumbnail guy. He does all my graphic stuff pretty much. He's the GOAT. So if y'all ever need anything, go hit him up on Twitter, Dark Knight GFX. But His team is pretty good. He's been playing my team a lot this year, been enjoying the game. Glad to see people enjoying the game. He's got Kyrie, Brandon Roy, Sean Marion, Kemp, and Adebayo. Off the bench has Damian Lillard, Klay Thompson, Iggy, Alonzo, D-Book, Magic, Paulo, and Giannis. All right, I would play, he's a Warriors fan, I would play Devin Booker over Klay personally at the backup shooting guard. The one problem with this team is everybody's pretty much the lock-in. So Kyrie's locked in, Brandon Roy, Dame, and Klay. These are all cards you can't sell. Sean Marion can't sell. Andre Iguodala, I know he locked in for, I forget who the day one legendary, for Dame. Dame was, Iggy was in the Dame set. He locked in his Iggy. And then he has Sean Kemp, Giannis, both of whom you can't sell. Bam and Alonzo, both of whom you can't sell. Bam's a lock and Alonzo's a free card. Nobody on his squad is auctionable, which makes it very, very hard for him to really sell anything and move anything around to make MT. Because the one spot on his team that I don't totally love right now is his backup bigs. Because the rest of his team is good. He's got Dame. He's got that Devin Booker card is really good. I would even throw Jason Kidd toward the end of this bench, and I know that he has Dirk as well because we're friends. I know he got Dirk. He locked in that Dirk as well, which means he has Jason Kidd. I would throw Jason Kidd in as a third defensive point guard. I would put D-Book at your backup too. Honestly, I'd take Klay out of the lineup entirely, but if you want to keep him as well, I know you're going to want to keep him in the lineup. So we'll just keep Klay in the lineup because you're a Warriors fan, but I would definitely have Jason Kidd and Devin Booker as options in your last three still. The only problem that you really have is your backup bigs, and I like Alonzo Mourning, I like Magic, I like Paulo, and I love Giannis. I think they're all great cards. I think the biggest upgrade that you can make to this team by far right now is Anthony Davis. He's just Bam Adebayo, but better. That's what Anthony Davis is. You can bring Bam off the bench next to Giannis, still have that size athleticism combo, and then you can have a better Bam basically in starting in Anthony Davis, but you have to make the MT to get him right now, and the only way that you're going to be able to make that MT right now, it looks like, is by playing. But I would make sure your collection is cleared out, that you've sold everything you can to try to maximize the amount of MT that you have, but the only way you're going to make MT right now is by playing the game. So definitely just going to have to grind out some MT this week so that you can pick up another upgrade at Big. Big Bird says he will have B-Roy by tonight. That was last night, so we're going to assume he has Brandon Roy, which means he's got Derrick Rose, Brandon Roy, Scottie Pippen, Sean Kemp, Giannis as his starting lineup, and then Kyrie, T-Mac, or Kyle Korver. He said he's tired of our test. Just put T-Mac at the backup three. Kyrie, Korver, T-Mac, and then Karl Malone, DeMarcus Cousins. I really like this Karl Malone card. He has Julius Randle as well. Paulo Banchero. Both of these guys are good. I mean, I don't love Derrick Rose, but he already locked him in for T-Mac, and he doesn't look like he locked in Damian Lillard. I think Rose is still worth running in your lineup. I don't love the fact that his release is super slow. I don't know why his release is so slow this year. It looks the same. It's just really slow, which is kind of annoying. It takes away how valuable he could be because it makes him a little bit harder to shoot with, but he's the best slashing PG in the game. Still a top 5 point guard in my team right now. I'm totally cool with it. I would still probably start Kyrie, but if you want to start D-Rose, honestly, more power to you. With that being said, honestly, the biggest spot for you to try to upgrade your team is going to be to try to get a guy like Anthony Davis. You have Karl Malone. It looks like sellable. It looks like this is not a... Oh, no, he's a Mirage player, so you locked him in for T-Mac as well. Okay, so you don't really have any sellable players either in your lineup, do you? That's something I'm noticing a lot more this year. A lot more collections, a lot more people not being able to sell. Very many options in their lineup. That's why I didn't lock in for T-Mac. That's why I'm not locking in these Showtime cards. I want to have some flexibility to sell some cards in my lineup and change some things up if I want to. So I have some auctionable cards right now. Guys like Vince, D-Rose, Pippen, Anthony Davis are all auctionable for me, which is kind of nice. But with that being said, Anthony Davis is your biggest upgrade again, but you don't have if you grind 7 games, if you play the game for 2 or 3 hours, you will have enough MT to get Anthony Davis, but I would try to probably get Anthony Davis in the next couple of days. The thing after that is you probably also want to grind some more MT, so you have another 140,000-ish, so you could make another upgrade next weekend would be ideal, right? So if there's anything you can sell, you probably want to make sure you can sell that. You could always sell Anthony Davis back as well, but having some cards that you can sell so you have some lineup flexibility and not locking everything in, I think is kind of important, because if you lock everything in, it gets you to the point where the only way you can make MT is either to buy it or to play the game. And right now, he's not that far away, though, from Anthony Davis. So that's the good part. And AD is his biggest upgrade. So he can start AD and bring Giannis off the bench. Third to last team today comes in from IDK. Hope he's not too late. Well, luckily for him, he is not. Has 80K, and he's really tempted to pick up Dr. J. Dr. J's a great card, but you have Devin Booker, you have Dylan Brooks, you're going to have Clyde Drexler this weekend. You're right. It's not worth buying him, because even if you grind out the MT to get the card, you'll have 140,000 MT, but you pick him up, and then you get those guys. What are you going to do? You're going to slide into the 3 to replace OG Anunoby? You could do that, but then you can't sell him back for nearly as much MT. You spend 140K, you can only get that 56K plus whatever you grade him at, so maybe 60 or 70K in all likelihood back, which is okay, but I just think overall, I would just not spend the MT on Dr. J. I would still grind out the MT this week to get up to 140,000 MT at least. Like I would say, this week your goal is to make at least 60,000 MT in your games of playing and save your MT so that you have 140,000 MT on Friday to spend on a new Elite Amethyst or to spend on Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis would be a huge upgrade for your team. And if there's not a better Amethyst option on Friday, I think he is the best way to upgrade this team right now, because you have super solid Ruby options at all four big man positions. Scottie Pippen is great. I don't love OG Anunoby, but you can replace him with Jordan Walsh for 5,000 MT, which is an upgrade in my opinion. I would do that. And then Darius Garland's a fine backup PG with a defensive wing in Dylan Brooks next to him is the perfect way you want to run this. I mean, I like your lineup construction. It's built well. I just think you got to get to 140K. I wouldn't spend it on Dr. J though. I would just wait to see what we get on Friday this weekend. And maybe you could even get to 280,000 MT. You play the game a bunch this week, you get 2 Amethysts. You get Anthony Davis and you get another card that comes out on Friday. Something like that. That would be fire. Second last team today comes in from Cabrillo. Obviously, Cabrillo's squad is a bit of a flex squad, and Cabrillo also plays very differently than a lot of other people. He runs a lot of plays. With that being said, Jason Kidd, Devin Booker, I like that backcourt. Scotty, Ben Wallace, and Shaq. Weird. The double big is going to kill you in your offensive possessions that are going to break down when your plays get shut down. When somebody stops the plays, I think this congestion in the paint is going to matter. 2 non-shooters. I would bring one of these guys off the bench at a very minimum. That's just my opinion. I would start Anthony Davis the 4. He's not quite as versatile defensively or as athletic as Ben Wallace, but he's still athletic enough and really, really good defensively while being way, way more of a threat offensively. I think he fits a lot better at the 4 than Ben Wallace for me. And then Ben Wallace could come off the bench. You could even use Jason Tatum a little bit more potentially. This Charlie Ward card is good, but I have no idea why you would use him over Kyrie. I actually think he's a really good budget point guard, but using him over Kyrie is kind of crazy. I feel like the Kidd Booker combo I understand, because people love this Booker card and some people love him enough to like he's their favorite shooting guard in the game. And if you're going to play Devin Booker, I do think the best point guard next to Devin Booker is Jason Kidd. So that's why I run Kidd as my backup point guard right now. So I'm fine with this, and I'm fine with you starting it, to be completely honest. But I would definitely play Kyrie as your backup point guard, and I think Ben Wallace has to come off the bench. This is kind of a situation of having pretty much every card in the game, to be fair. And I think, well, I mean, you have 856 KMT. You know what you should do? Lock in Sean Kemp, bring Ben Wallace off the bench as your backup 5, go Shaq, Ben Wallace, and then go Kemp and AD as your starting power forwards. That's what you really should do. Bring Kyrie to your backup point guard. Your team is absolutely set. So there you go. Now, last squad today comes in from Dan. He's got 200,000 MT and says he's open to any suggestions. This looks like it could be a very viable. I think I could build this team no money spent in about 2 weeks. If you gave me about 2 weeks. So honestly, I think at this point in the year, I think you could build this type of team in, because look at the teams. He spent 280,000 MT on Kyrie and Dr. J and Anthony Davis. He got Kyrie for free. He's probably getting pretty close to Brandon Roy potentially. He's got defense off his bench, though. I don't love this. You got to have a little bit more shot creation off your bench. You need a shot creator. Jordan Walsh, Giannis, AD is phenomenal. Cam Whitmore, Jabari Smith, Sigma will get the job done as well. That's another defensive guy in ML Carr. You need a score. You need a score. Even if it's a budget guy like a Brandon Jennings, or if you want to potentially target a Darius Garland or a Brandon Jennings, or wait for a better point guard, maybe you could even target Devin Booker, although that's going to be really expensive. And if you're trying to save your MT, that may not be the strategy to go with. But yeah, I don't know. This is a good team for sure. It's a really, really well-built, no money spent type squad, but you need scoring off your bench. That's the thing that you're missing right now. Even could start a little bit more defense and bring Dr. J off the bench to give you that scoring. Unless you trust Joe Dumars as a primary ball handler. If you're having success with him as a primary ball handler, you can go for it. But for me, I think you need a little bit more scoring, whether that's a D-Book at the 2 or a ball handling one like a Darius Garland or Brandon Jennings, who are going to be cheaper. I think you could use a little bit more scoring just to get, I feel like your bench might be a little bit caged at times. Starting lineup is amazing, though. This is a really, really nice team. So that is the last squad from today's video. Hope y'all did enjoy this one. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.